Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Top Cut. I am Josue Crims Rojano, and with me are Drew Holden and Michael Pram. And actually, we have the Great White Hope here one more week. What's going on, Potter? This week we're missing out on one of our teammates. We're missing out on Kyle Pukasukovic. He's actually preparing to get ready, or he's preparing for his flight to Hawaii, and it leaves tomorrow morning. So I guess the guy's a little backed up, and he unfortunately couldn't make it this tonight. But either way, we're going to be talking about World Championships coming up in a couple of weeks. This is our last show before the actual tournament begins. We're going to be talking about our own Top Cut Invitational. Very excited about that, and we want to give you guys a few more details about that. And finally, we're going to be talking about the LCQ. We do have two people here that are going to be, two people on the show that are going to be going to the LCQ, and that's Drew Holden and Ben Potter. Both of them are going to be attempting to grind into the World Championships. Have either of you guys actually grinded in before?
Never had to grind in before.
And Potter?
I grinded in 2010.
All right.
So
you've already experienced this?
It was also
Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii.
You're right. It was in Hawaii. I didn't actually put that link together. But yeah, you've grinded in Hawaii before. It's in Kona actually, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, you've experienced this before. You're going to be attempting to re-experience this again. And you actually wrote an article for us, and this actually featured this exact same thing. Your article is talking about your experience grinding in, and I mean, isn't it kind of I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but either way, it is really interesting that you're going to be attempting to do this all over again. And you provided fans of the show and fans of the actual website, with information on how you've attempted to do this before, and you're trying to give them tips on how to beat you at the LCQ. So what's going on with that, and can you explain a little bit about what went into your article?
Well, I think the first thing is I would feel weird writing an article if I wasn't actually grinding in myself. I feel like it puts in more perspective for somebody else who's also trying to grind in. And I guess I did help my competition quite a bit. Well, probably not that much.
What did you think of that?
In hindsight, this may have been not the best idea.
Yeah, but I still like talking about Pokemon and writing about it. So if I can help somebody else get through, more likely I have a better chance of helping somebody else getting through rather than helping somebody beat me to get through. So the enjoyment of helping somebody is nice, and yeah. And I saw an opportunity with the Top Cut to write an article, and I haven't written an article for anybody else before, so I figured this was a good entryway as my first step into writing more.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually like that. And it's interesting you mentioned what you just did, because I know I've experienced this, and I'd be surprised if the other guys haven't. But at Nationals, a couple of rounds actually, after I was defeated by my opponent, the gentleman who very nice guy, shakes my hand and he says, "You know what? I couldn't have done this without you. all the shows that you guys have been doing, they definitely helped me get better as a player, and here I am, competing against some world-class players and actually being able to beat you guys." And I'm sitting there going, "Well, yeah, congratulations." What else can I say? I just I found it funny more than anything. The fact that my opponent who just beat me was sitting there going, "Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate this. I wish you could laugh." He's like, "Help my tiebreakers out, yeah?"
I guess the lesson there is the timing is say it before the match.
Yeah. I just I found it funny, but I really I still enjoyed it. I still had that good feeling inside of me. Obviously, you never like losing, but still, it's nice to be able to say, you know what, I've done something to help the community out. I've done something to help people get better, and that part's really cool. And I do like that you stepped up, you took it upon yourself to write this article, and it's great. It was actually a really good read, and I recommend that everybody that hasn't read it goes on and reads it. And we do look forward to hearing from you again. Hopefully you do qualify again. That'd be a hell of a story. Just sitting there going, "Well, see, guys, my grinder thing, it works. Follow the directions.
So great.
It'll work."
It'd be so awesome. Unfortunately, it wouldn't leave me any time to study for my math test, but it'd be worth it.
Sacrifices must be made, man. But either way, Drew, you're also going to be trying to grind in. You said you've never had to grind in before. How does it feel?
Well, there was one year I could have grinded in. I think it was the first Hawaii year, and I just didn't go. So this is the first time I actually go into Worlds and have to grind in. I'm actually kind of confident because if you look at the numbers, it's obviously the best chance to grind in. Let's say they take top 16. They took top 16 last time in Hawaii. It's single elimination. You'd only have to win 3 rounds, assuming that there's not over 256 people. And most you have to win is, I mean, you might have to play 4, probably not, but 3 or 4 rounds you're in Worlds, that's crazy. So I'm looking forward to it. I think I can win 3 or 4 rounds, baby. Woo! I didn't win 3 or 4 rounds in Nationals, but I think I can do it.
I was about to say.
At least
Are
you're
you sure you can win 3 or 4?
2 out of 3, man.
But yeah, you know what? It is 2 out of 3, and that's actually really cool about the grinder. I tried grinding in last year. It did not go well for me at all. I went in there unprepared, obviously, as you might expect, and I got actually the boot right out of the first round, and I was actually really happy about that because I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, if I'm gonna lose, I might as well lose in the first round because at least that way you have the whole day to yourself. And the worst feeling in the world has to be going into the final round and then losing there. And last year, was it Ben? Was it you that lost in the last? No. Okay. It was somebody that's really close to our little community that lost in the very last round, and they just entered the room where we were all hanging out, and they were just steaming mad. They were just sitting there throwing things around. Might have been Jimmy O'Brien now that I think about it, but either way, they were just steaming mad, and it's just it's part of the game. It's part of the LCQ. Only a certain amount of people can make it, and you have to go undefeated. Luckily, in Hawaii, you only have 3 or 4 rounds to go through, so that part isn't so bad. But still, not everybody's going to make it, and the vast majority are actually going to miss. So good luck to both of you guys. I'm sure that we're going to be reading you guys on. And make sure you guys post your standings on Twitter. Make sure you guys post, if you guys are winning or losing or whatever you guys are doing. Because I'm going to be stressing this as much as I can because this is our last chance to do it. That is the best way to communicate for the World Championships. Hashtag PokeWorlds. Go ahead and do that whenever you guys have anything interesting to say about the World Championships. And this, not only applies to YouTube, but anybody watching, especially during the grinder where, it's winning in, losing out. So good luck, and I do hope to read from that because I will not be attending Worlds. I will be sitting on my butt at home watching, hopefully watching some sort of a stream, and if that's not possible, then at least reading some tweets and following on the Pokemon World Championship website, which just launched recently. So really excited for that. But yeah, either way, the other things that we're going to be talking about are obviously going to be the World Championships and the Top Cut Invitational. We're going to try to keep our actual conversation thing short, and we're going to try to focus more on the viewer questions. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them now, and we'll try to answer them at the end of the show. But yeah, the Top Cut Invitational. I'm assuming we all know who the 8 players that are going to be invited are, right? We've mentioned quite a bit, and I'd be surprised if anybody at home doesn't know who any of these 8 players are, because these guys are very recognizable names in the game. And we'll start by mentioning Jason Klaczynski, who is obviously the champion from last year. He's got to be the man to beat this year. Probably the best resume in all of Pokemon, to be honest. And my dog right here is making a little guest appearance, but that's all right. Yeah, Jason Klaczynski, man to beat, man of I was gonna say man of the hour, but the truth is he's been like the man of the decade, man of like the last couple of decades even. Not enough can be said about him, or everything that can be said about him probably has. But is there anything you guys want to mention about Jason? Anything that you guys like? Do any of you guys feel like he might not be the man to beat? And if so, then why? So I'll start with Pram.
Well, I'm going through the list right now. It all depends on like who he goes up against, really. All 8 of these players are. It's gonna be like really tough to call who's gonna win. I mean, like Jason's kind of done this before. He won last year's Top Cut Invitational, so he kind of has that going for him. But I don't know. It's like anyone's game, I think. So I think it's too close to call.
But about Jason though, like we're gonna be going through each one of these guys. Do you feel like he's maybe taking a step back since last year? Do you feel like he's still strong as ever? Anything you actually want to mention about Jason?
I think he kind of goes through like these like hills of like when he's like really good, and then he kind of falls off, and it typically happens after he's won a world championship. So since it's been a while, I don't know. I think he's doing really well this year, and he qualified. So, and yeah, he's gonna be like really strong. So.
All right. So nothing bad to say about Jason. That's probably a good idea. What about you, Drew?
A total scum. The worst human being I've ever been around. It'll be a miracle if he makes it through a week at the beach house with me. So we'll see. No, it's a really, really competitive tournament. I mean, you can look at the names. I think Sammy is a huge favorite as well. He made the finals last year. But then there's the new people in the tournament, like Asa. He's kind of an unknown. He wins Finland. Or is it Finland every year?
Yeah.
Not even sure. But
yeah. I think so.
And he came up with the Hammer Time deck, so he's got to be good. But he's kind of an unknown everywhere else in the world. So it'll be cool to see him compete against the big dogs. And then we got my personal favorite, the Tank Engine himself. He's gonna take down the Worlds, and he's gonna take down the Top Cut Invitational, baby. Woo!
Yeah, we will get to Tom Dozel because I know that you have quite a history with Tom, and I'm sure you have quite a few things to say about him. But what about you, Ben? What do you think about Jason Klaczynski specifically and his chances at Top Cut Invitational?
I always think Jason's chances are good. He always strikes me as a player who plays every single tournament with intelligence, and that's including his deck choice. I don't think we're going to see anything crazy like he came up with last year, because now the formats, our Top Cut Invitational format's going to be regular 60-minute rounds, so that's going to be pretty normal for even the regular tournaments that we play in. But I expect him to play a good deck and to play well. What?
Yeah,
Let me correct you real quick. I believe it's 90 minutes.
Well, it's 30 minutes for group stages, so that's just one game. And then
Okay.
when we go to single elimination, it's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.
Right,
So,
so,
yeah,
the regular rounds are going to be the regular time, and then the Top Cut rounds are just going to be like 15 minutes more, but it's best 2 out of 3, right?
No. Group stages is one game, 30
Right.
minutes plus 3.
Right.
And
Right.
then,
That's the same as Swiss.
yeah, well, sorta. It's more like a dual tournament.
No, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. What he means is like the same
I got
type
it.
of rules.
I got it.
Yeah.
And then I'll take the top 2 from each group and then go to single elim with 90 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Best 2 out of 3.
Yes.
Right. So that's a lot closer to what normal tournaments have as far as time goes. So we're not going to see a super long deck by Jason. I think we're going to see something fairly standard by him. And I also think it's going to be a really smart list and a really smart person playing the deck, and I think he's gonna do well. I don't see him going anywhere outside of top 4 in that tournament.
Very interesting. Now, for the people who actually don't know about the Top Cut Invitational, we did this last year. We invited 8 players, and we let them have no time limit actually, and that was probably a mistake because some decks took advantage of that, and we ended up having a very long night, and those people obviously had a big advantage, well within the rules. But either way, it was a great tournament. Amazing players, amazing gameplay. So excited about how well we actually pulled this off, and I couldn't have been happier about the result. But Jason did end up pulling it off. And for those of you who think that it's in the back burners for all these players, it honestly isn't. And it's not because of the fact that that we're running it, and it's not about the fact that there's reasonable prizes or anything like that. No. These guys are actually incredibly competitive players. I can't stress this enough. These guys all honestly want to win just so that they can say, "Hey, look, I beat the 7 of the other best players in the world, and I deserve this." And Jason could not be prouder of his championship win. And I can guarantee you that this guy is like hungry to be the only Top Cut Invitational champion ever. And the same applies to all these other 7 guys. So for those of you who might be thinking, oh, you know what, this is just a side tournament for them or anything like that, the truth is, only specifically because these guys are also competitive, the tournament will be incredibly competitive, and you'll be seeing the best that these guys have to offer.
Yeah,
so, with that said,
cool little note about Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to his place once, and he only has 3 trophies displayed: 2 World Championship trophies, and the Top Cut Invitational trophy. So
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely means the world to most of these players. It's the fact that you can beat your peers and claim to be a champion. That goes a huge way, and I can guarantee you that every single one of us would love to be able to say that I beat my peers and I managed to pull off the championship. So with that said, we now have Sugiyoshi Yamato. Arguably the second, one of the two most legendary players ever to play the game, along with Jason. The guy, he's got a resume just as long as Jason's. He's done it in a country where it's much more difficult to get qualified for the World Championships. He's grinded in 3 times. Not enough can be said about this man. This guy is, honestly, kind of like it sounds silly to say, but it almost, the truth is he's almost like a hero to a lot of players. Like the fact that he's loved this game for so long, and the fact that he's put so much of his dedication into this game and has had such amazing results. Everybody honestly really appreciates Yamato, and the guy's got to be one of the other guys to beat. And I mean, the fact that he's Yamato alone has to mean the world. Do you guys feel pretty good about his chances coming into this tournament?
The weird thing is, I think he's like an underdog in this 8, which is the weird thing. I mean, that's like, how outrageous is that? You're like, hey, Yamato, he's the underdog, right?
Yeah.
So, because you have like Jason, Sammy's gonna be there. We have Yuta Matsuda, a bunch of 5 series world champion. I mean, like Tom. It's like kind of, and I say this because he's coming from like a format where he doesn't really play into our format, so like there could be like a little bit of inexperience with the format. So he might play something like wacky, but it's good, but it's not like really tier 1 kind of deal. Like he kind of showed like last year that happened. So I don't know. As weird as it is, I'm gonna be like, he's an underdog in the 8.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm glad you mentioned. Last year, he actually played this Lantern deck, and I believe he actually played it at the World Championships as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he played this Lantern deck, which was obviously not very well suited for our format, and unfortunately he didn't do very well at either the Invitational or at Worlds. And a lot of people started, wondering, hey, look, what's going on with Yamato? Maybe this guy's isn't prepared for, maybe this guy's just, not one of the, the guys to beat anymore. And the truth is that these guys, the Japanese players, they play a completely different format from the United States, and they have been for a while. And I believe Drew's pup needs to go to a vet ASAP because the poor thing's about to die.
That's a cat.
That's a cat.
Pup, cat. thing's about to die. All right.
He looks fine.
No, he looks dead, dude.
He looks sleepy.
But yeah, these guys do not play our format. These guys play a completely different format that's well ahead of ours, and it is a disadvantage to them, and it's been a disadvantage to them, and it's it caught up to Yamato last year, and it'll be interesting to see if it catches up to him again this time around. Drew, thoughts?
Well, they can't move, so it's alive.
For now.
No, I love Yamato. One of my favorite moments from World last year was when we interviewed him, and you could just genuinely tell they loved the game, and he was so excited about everything and doing the tournament with us. So to be able to invite him back again is great, and he really did play something interesting last year. I'd like to see him maybe if he's more in tune with the American metagame this year and plays something probably a bit more competitive. If he does that, I think he has a great chance. You can't underrate a guy like Yamato. He's won Worlds. You just can't do it. So I love him, and I think he can do it. He's going to have to get through the tank engine, but if he does that, I think anything's possible. So. Woo!
What about you, Ben?
I really like Yamato. When I think about Worlds, I think Yamato is one of the first things. Because what's Worlds without Yamato? Hopefully that won't ever happen anytime soon. But I think he's the favorite in this tournament. I think he's going to win. I'd put money on it. I think he's going to play something really creative, probably without Vileplume, but it's going to be really creative, and it's going to take people by surprise. And I think it's really going to work, and he's going to win the tournament.
Ooh. I'm glad he said that. I'm glad that Yamato does get some respect from some players. And you know what? I'll say it myself. I don't necessarily know if he's the favorite, but he's the guy who I do want to win. I really want him to do extremely well and, if possible, win this tournament, because this guy, he deserves all the respect that he's gotten. And to all the newer players that don't really know very much about Yamato, he hasn't honestly been on in the spotlight for a couple of years now. It'd be interesting to for him to say, hey, look, guys, I'm not done yet. I still got a little bit left in the old tank. So, with that said, we then go to the other Japanese player, Michael Pramawat's best friend, and mine too, for for that wonderful memory that he instilled in me. Yuta Komatsuda. Yuta is a world champion. He is top 4 at Worlds. He has undoubtedly done extremely well at his at his own national championships, which I can't stress how hard these championships are in Japan. Because first of all, you only have a very, very select number of players that are actually going to be Worlds attendees from Japan. They have a huge player base, a humongous player base, and they have to do a lot of traveling to even come to the LCQ to begin with. So you better guarantee that these guys are actually going to be putting a ton of effort into anything that they do World Championship related. And what do you guys think about Yuta? Do you guys feel like Yuta is on par, first of all, with not only Yamato but the rest of the competition? And how do you guys feel about his chances?
Well, I think he's, in terms of like format knowledge, he's probably in the same boat as Yamato. So, if Yamato does well with a good deck, Yuta will probably do well with a good deck. And if not, then probably flop too, or not flop, but like have like a little bit of disadvantage there. In terms of like deck building, though, his deck he qualified with for this year's Worlds is sick. Like Garchomp, Altaria, that deck was sick, and like it's not really a deck you kind of go, oh, this is like an obvious combo. It's kind of like, oh, you can do that. Kind of one of those things. So I think he also made top 4 last year at our Invitational. So I think he's gonna do well. I put him at good odds of getting into the top 4.
Good. Yeah. And is there any bitterness left towards him? Any resentment?
No, I didn't really have like. I was never like bitter at him, man. It was just kind of like
just bitter at the situation.
Yeah. It's like, come on, you're good if you get that far, man. It's like, whatever.
That's good. I'm glad. I just know that if you're going to end up casting one of his matches, you better call it straight down the middle.
I'll be like, I'll just start whispering in the microphone. Go other guy, yeah, take him down. No.
You pause the game and then you whisper in the other guy's ear. Like, hey, you have this in his hand. What about you, Potter? What do you think about Yuta?
I think Yuta's a solid player, and I think he's going to have a solid showing. I don't necessarily think he'll top 4 or top 2, but I mean, I don't think he's just going to completely play awful versus anybody. I think any game he's going to play with anybody, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be entertaining to watch. I'd give the edge to Yamato just by a little bit as far as history with playing. But there were a good few years, like I think it was like a 2-year difference between his 4th and his like 1st or something like that, where he really got on a hot streak. And if he's back to one of those streaks, I could see him, especially since with him qualifying for Worlds the way he did with the deck that he qualified with, I think he's got a solid chance of just being on another hot streak and winning. Yeah.
What about you, Drew?
First, I would like to say that Ben Potter's analysis kind of reminds me of like John Madden football games. If he's running real hot, he could win this thing.
I got that.
He plays the cards really good. Nah, I don't really know much about Yuta. I mean, we saw him at Worlds whooping on Pram, but outside of that, I really don't know him very much. I don't know much about him.
I feel like I gotta put like perspective in this, man. I won game 1.
Oh, you got lucky.
Game 3's the one that counted. Wah, wah, wah. All right, Drew, continue.
I just don't know much about him. I wish I knew more. I wish I had played for some more, but there was Worlds where I skipped that he went to and stuff like that. So he's obviously good. You have to be good to win Worlds. Probably better than Pram, obviously. So That's gotta at least put him favorite to make top 4. So we'll see from there. Depends on matchups probably at that point.
I'm not bitter, but like every time you guys mention this, it's like a spike comes flying through here.
I'm not bitter, but it still hurts my heart.
I'm gonna wake up one night, Pram standing over me in Hawaii with like a steak knife.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if that's such a good idea. Talking so smack. And then we have the last of the returning players, Sammy Sekum. I don't even know what to say about this guy. Very funny, incredibly charismatic, and he's an amazing player to boot. He might, when people start talking about Hall of Fame, Sammy is one of the first names that comes to mind, and that means a lot considering that there's been a lot of players that have done incredibly well at this game, and he's very appreciated by his peers. He's very well respected, and he's got to be by far one of the absolute best players ever to play the game, let alone playing at this Top Cut Invitational. So how do you guys feel about his odds, and what do you guys have anything to say about Sammy?
Well, I think his odds are pretty good depending on what deck he plays. Last year he played my Typhlosionless, courtesy of Luke. So he went pretty far with it. If he plays my deck again, he'll go like another finals at least.
All right. What about you, Drew?
I think it depends how much he prepares for Worlds. I think one of the knocks against Sammy is sometimes he's not as prepared as he should be. He's obviously probably one of the best players in the game, obviously easily top 3 in terms of in-game play, but sometimes he's just not there. He goes out and parties on the weekends or something and just not ready there mentally. So if he's mentally in the game, I think he might actually be the favorite. He's amazing to watch. I think if you see him in the open game area, I would challenge him to play and just be amazed because he's so good. I can't even describe it. It's a work of art. The man is.
He's not.
He's beautiful.
He's not washed up like
he's
Drew.
beautiful.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
You know what? That's interesting that you mentioned that he doesn't put a lot of playtesting in because he's actually flying out. I think he's actually on the plane right now, and he should be in Hawaii at some point within the next 24 hours, if I remember correctly. So that means that he's actually going to have a very, very long time to playtest. A long time being a little over a week. So the guy's actually flying out to Hawaii already just to make sure that he can playtest with Jason, actually, one of his fellow competitors, and Kyle's going to be getting over there tomorrow afternoon as well. So Kyle, Jason, and Sammy are both going to be playtesting for Worlds about a week in advance before the tournament actually begins. That's that's a lot of dedication, actually. To travel a week before your tournament begins just to playtest with your playtest buddies. That means a lot, and he's got to be well prepared. I would be very surprised if he doesn't go to Worlds and the Top Cut Invitational without being not only prepared for the competition, but knowing the format extremely well. So I don't think it's going to be
wrong, man. He's coming to Worlds early to sit by the pool and sip on a martini, man. He's not playtesting.
Let's hope not. What about you, Potter? What do you think about Sammy?
I think Samuel's an excellent player. Always one of the best players in the game. I think I'll probably get second. I mean, if I'm picking Yamato to win, somebody has to get second. And Sammy has the best chance of playing well and getting second place. So I think he's going to...
So we're seeing the John Madden bracket, actually. We're seeing the John Madden bracket develop. And we have Yamato winning. With Sammy
see the linebacker comes around and then blocks him out. Yeah, chicken.
And I think you said Jason's going to top 4, so we have one spot in the top 4. And you've mentioned Yuta might, but I guess we're putting him between top 8 and top 4 for now. Your bracket's developing, and it's interesting to see where everybody else fits in.
I think I have my bracket. I think I have my bracket completed.
All right. Well,
man,
how's
we don't even have
John Roberts
groups done yet? What happens?
John Roberts the second.
How does John Roberts the second fit into it?
All right. Well, he's playing Kling Klang. I mean, I'm assuming that's what he's going to play. I think that's what he said he was going to play for Worlds and the Top Gun Invitational. At least that's what I've been hearing or something. And if that's just what he's going to play, that gives these other 7 competitors, these are all very competitive people, they're going to make sure that they can win that matchup. And if they can win that matchup, then most likely they're going to be able to win the matchup most of the time. if they're going to have techs for the deck, they're probably going to win. So I actually don't think he's going to do that well. If he switches it up and works hard at another deck, trying to learn like that and perfect that, like he did Kling Klang, sky's the limit. But I think he's going to stick with Kling Klang since he had such wild success with it in Nationals.
Now, John actually won the national championships. He beat 1,004 other players in the Masters division. He's flown under the radar at Nationals. He's likely to fly under the radar, to be perfectly honest with you, at Worlds. And this has nothing to do with his play skill. The guy's an actual amazing player. I've seen him play, and the guy's got a lot of talent. But the fact that he hasn't been at anything, the fact that he just started playing this game, about a year ago, these all, kind of help you be under the radar. And that actually is a good thing. That's actually a very good thing. And I would want to fly under the radar for as long as possible until, you can't anymore. But the fact that his Kling Klang deck is, very well publicized has to count for something. And it's very interesting to see if John does fly under the radar, or if people start, figuring his name and combining it with Kling Klang at all times. And if they do that, if they're going to be trying to snipe him or something like that. And this will be actually very interesting to see. What about you, Drew? What do you think about John and him as a player, and what his chances are?
I'm very impressed with him as a player. I mean, going into Nationals, he was kind of an unknown, and he really interacted with us at Nationals, so he was constantly updating us, and I was really impressed along the way, and I think he's a great player. To be able to pilot that Kling Klang deck, that is impressive. I think Kling Klang is kind of the easiest deck to counter, and he got kind of lucky at Nationals in that he didn't go against Hammer Time or Lost Removers and stuff like that. So it is pretty easy to counter. Anyone can hit 2 Lost Removers, but he did conquer all odds and defeat all doubters at Nationals, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did it again and pulled this out. I mean, if Crim right now gives him just poops on him, I think he's going to win, so... What do you think about John Roberts' chances, Crim?
I actually think that we're having audio issues. So I want to see if we can fix these audio issues first.
It's coming from you guys.
All of us?
Drew mainly.
Because I just turned on the stream myself, and we do sound like incredibly choppy. Hopefully this doesn't jump up.
I mean, what do you want me to do? Restart the stream?
It's like on and off the Skype audio might work. Or no, the XSplit audio.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Alright.
Sorry for the inconvenience, guys. Let's see if we can get this fixed. Oh, it worked. There we go. Woo!
Hello. Hello.
Alright, so, you mentioned John Roberts. He's an incredibly good player. What else were you talking about for the audience that didn't get to hear you? And for me,
I think it depends on. I think it depends on if Crim doubts him or not. It seems to be the spark that drives him. So I think you can do it. Just give him a bad review here, Crim, and let's crown the Top Cut Invitational champion.
You know what? Even though even though that would probably be a service to him and a disservice to me, I can't do that to the guy. Not this time. I'm done doubting him. I'm done doubting him. And actually, I'm turning into one of his fans. The guy is, like I said, he's a great guy, and that's actually what's most important to me. He's a great role model to the community. I've had the pleasure of being able to speak to him multiple times, on a personal basis, and I have nothing but good things to say about him. All I can say is that I do hope he does extremely well, and he sounds whatever critics he might have. So nope, not doing that service, and he's gonna have to get there on his own. He can't use motivation anymore. Pram, what about you? What do you think about John?
It's hard to say. I don't know if he's a favorite or not, but he's definitely going to be competitive. He played really well at Nationals, and he's only been playing for like a year, man. So it's like that's really impressive on how much he's learned about the game. But these are against players who have been like super veterans. So, it's hard to say. I don't think he's going to be like the worst, but I think he's going to be like middle of the pack of these 8. And depending on what he plays, of course, you know, if he plays, like Ben said, if he plays Kling Klang, then, you know, people will easily just throw in one loss remover if they want to be super competitive about it. Because, you know, if you throw in one loss remover and you win 8% of your, or 1/8 of your matches of your competition, then, like, hey, why wouldn't you, right? So, I think it just depends on what he plays and how many people and how many people like decide to actually run loss remover, because people might just stick with their guns and what they played at Worlds, whether they played it or not. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put you on the spot and ask you who you actually think the worst player at the tournament is gonna be, but that's interesting that you mentioned that you think he's gonna be middle of the pack. That's one thing we haven't really touched on, is the fact that, yeah, I mean, we can keep saying, you know, X so and so is incredibly good, so and so is one of the best players of all time, so and so is one of the best players now, etc., etc. But the truth is, all 8 of these guys are supposed to be as good as it gets. All 8 of these guys are supposed to be 8 of the absolute best that play the game currently. So, you know, I don't think play skill is going to be, you know, it's going to be too much of an issue. I think all 8 of these guys can absolutely handle themselves on any given day and can absolutely pull this tournament off on any given day. But it is interesting that you mentioned that he is one of the newer players and he can hang, because the truth is he can. And he proved it by beating 1,004 players. I can't tell you how difficult that has to be. So it's going to be very cool. I'm very interested to see if he can perform as well as I hope he does.
Yeah.
So
like,
take care of.
Like what separates these players isn't like their in-game skill for the most part, because everyone has, like, for the most part, like the appropriate level. It's like it's gonna be like hairs, like trying to find out who's like ranking them. It's like hairs.
Splitting hairs.
Yeah. So it's just like little things like experience, you know, how committed they are to a deck, things like that, that are kind of like, in my head, when I'm ranking them, it's like I just expect them all to play pretty much like pretty much, maybe not 100% perfect, but close enough, you know. So everything, it's like the little things that are like separating these players.
Okay. So we've mentioned 5 of the 8. We still have 3 to go. All 3 of these guys are going to be new, just like John, to the Invitational. And the other player I want to mention is actually Asa Juntunen. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. Asa is the 6-time national champion. Asa is actually he has a blog named The Deck Out, I believe. And he's put a lot of effort and time of his time and effort into creating, you know, the media aspect of Pokemon. You know, kind of similar to what we're doing, where we're just trying to grow the game, you know, whatever way we can, you know, whether it be by tournament info or whatever. And he's doing something very similar. So that's not the reason that we invited him. We invited him because he's a very solid player, and he's we believe that he's going to be a great representative of the European for the European countries. But what do you guys think? Ace's chances are. What do you guys think about, well, the deck and what he does for Pokemon? What do you guys feel like he deserves an invite to the Invitational?
I'll go first. I think all 8 of these players clearly deserve the invite, or else they wouldn't have been invited. But you know, in terms of like just pure resume, I think Asa's might be the one who's like looking to prove the most. Maybe next.
You don't think
maybe
that
next
might
to John?
fall into John?
John and
yeah.
I think John and Asa are like the 2 on the low rungs, but even then, like they're like their resume is like ridiculous. So it's just like, it's like, that's not like really a slam, but I'm just like comparative, like the other 6. It's like Asa, you know, he's kind of like Sammy in a way, where he dominates his nationals, and then, you know, you don't really hear from him that much at Worlds. I mean, like, I don't know how he's done at Worlds. Not like, whereas Sammy, you know, he dominates his like nationals, and then comes to Worlds and then dominates there too. So I think it's like, I think we have the most expectations just to see what he can do, kind of thing. But
so kind of like most interested in seeing, you know, what Asa can deliver. And do you think that might put a little bit of pressure onto Asa? Because it is a little bit publicized that obviously he's excited to be invited, and he realizes that, you know, that a lot of people do doubt him, and he makes no bones about it. You know, the guy actually understands what kind of a role he's playing right now. He understands that a lot of players who don't necessarily know very much about him are putting him in this like, oh, you don't deserve to be invited role, when this has to create a lot of pressure for him. I mean, undoubtedly. How do you think he's going to handle it? Do you feel like he's handling it well right now?
I think everyone we've invited has been like there before. Like, you know, they were kind of unknowns and then they became known players. So I don't think this pressure is like anything new. And I hope that he can, you know, prove all the doubters wrong. I hope he like gets top 4 at least, just from like a pure fan perspective.
All right, Mr. Wu, what do you think?
He's obviously an incredibly active member of the community, and at the top cut, I fully endorse that. I love the guy for how much he contributes. Like, his site is awesome. I love everything he's doing, and if just to be able to invite him to our Invitational is an honor. He's a great guy. I like him already. I don't think I've met him, so we'll see. He also beat Chuck at that one Worlds in top 32, so I got to thank him for that.
The one Chuck played in Napoleon?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Okay. I know who he is
Undefeated
now.
through the grinder. Undefeated through the grinder. Undefeated through
he played
Swiss.
Glacian that year.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Oh, that was him. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Well, that's just one more thing I need to check off on his like resume.
I believe he top 8'd one of these worlds as well.
That's cool.
So he's actually done very well at the Worlds.
Okay, I take back what I said about the Worlds thing then. Yeah. I don't know, it's hard to like kind of like figure out who's like the bottom 4 out of these 8. Because like,
don't worry, Mr. Mandover is going to be able to clue us into this.
Dude, man, it's tough. This 8 is like tough to rank.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Drew, you were saying? Sorry.
Yeah, I actually think people kind of overlook what Ace has done a little bit. All they see is like the Finland top 1 6 times in a row. Oh, it's Finland, who cares? But he does do pretty well at Worlds, respectable at least. And he's nothing to shrug at. I don't know where I would place him in the top 8 like Pram was saying, but I like him. Let's see what he can do.
All right. And my main man, Mr. Hope, what do you think?
I haven't actually seen Asa play. I haven't read any of his stuff on his site either. That's not a knock on the site or anything. I can't read everything on the internet. But you know, his results kind of speak for itself, and I'm really excited as a person to see like him play, because he has won like 6 national championships, and that's like, whoa, that's amazing. So I don't know that much. I don't really know where to rank him, but as a shot in the dark, I'm going to go ahead and say he gets 3rd.
He's your other member of the top 4?
Yep.
All right. That means that, according to Ben Potter, we have Yuta Komatsuda, John Roberts, and our 2 players that we have still yet to talk about, rounding out the top 8. Very interesting, and I guess we'll have to see who the other 2 players are. I'm actually really happy for what you guys have been mentioning about Asa. Like I mentioned, I think that if anybody, and I don't think he does have to prove himself. I just feel like unfortunately the community has put him into a position where they're kind of forcing him to, you know, say, hey, look, you know, here I am. I'm going to try to prove that I'm, you know, as skilled as some of these other players think I am, and see how I can do, you know, against 7 of the other best players in the world. So absolutely, a lot of people are going to have their eyes set on him, and I'm very interested to see how he performs. So here we go, number 7 on the list. He's actually the world champion currently. I was about to say former world champion, but that's not true. He's still world champion for at least another week and a half. It's David Cohen. Not much is honestly known about the man. Nothing, not a knock on him. Just a very quiet individual. I don't know if that's the right word, because I don't even know if he's quiet or not. He's just secluded himself from interviews. He secluded himself from publicizing him, himself, and people honestly don't know very much about him other than the people that are within his region. What do you guys think about David? And I'm actually very happy that he's accepted this invitation, because that means that he's going to be, saying, hey, look, I'm trying to see if I'm trying to prove that I've got what it takes to hang with the big boys, and I'm trying to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. So how do you guys feel about David? And how do you feel about his chances? And pretty much anything. We'll start with Drew.
I actually don't really like his chances, just because of the amount he's played this season. You don't typically see people that take a whole year off and then come back for major events do well outside of like Tom Dolezal. No one can do it. So from that aspect, I really don't see him doing that well. I don't know. I don't see it. Seems like you gotta put effort in to get effort out, and I just haven't seen that effort this year. Seems like he's just, I got the trip, so whatever. I can just sit around and not have to do anything, which is fine. I mean, he's the world champion. So
to be fair, I think
he is the world champion.
Yeah, you know, he earned his invite a year ago. He earned a trip to Worlds and to Hawaii a year ago. So the guy has honestly very little to prove. The guy decided, hey, look, you know, I'm going to take the year off because I earned this, and all you guys can struggle for your championship points. I'll just sit back and enjoy the show, and then I'll see what I can do. But you guys, I have no doubt in my mind that the guy's been playtesting. He lives in the northwest area, I believe, and he plays with some very solid players out of there. He's got a great testing group. I'm sure they're all, you know, the people that didn't qualify, and even the people that did. All these guys are play testing, and they're trying to get not only himself ready, but the rest of that team ready. And I'm sure that they're all going to perform extremely well. And I'm sure that David's going to have a very good showing at Worlds. But you're absolutely right. You know, the fact that he hasn't been playing for this year, that means that he didn't really get to see the format develop very well. I don't know how much he played into Me2 Wars. I don't know how much he saw Darkrai develop into becoming a tech for all these Volume decks. I don't know anything about that, and I don't know if he has or hasn't. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually, you know, is prepared, if he's done his testing, if he's done his research. And you're absolutely right, though, that is a big disadvantage, the fact that he hasn't played pretty much all year. Mr. Madden, you put him in the top 8. You put him not getting out of the top 8. Why is that, and what are your thoughts on David?
You know, I don't have much to judge him on other than the 3 Worlds games that he played. I think it was 3, may have been 2. But other than that, I've never seen him play, or you know, he hasn't publicized himself like Drew said. But in this small field of great players, I think the other players just have a slight edge. So, I mean, somebody has to go in the bottom 8 or the bottom 4. And I think the experience of the other guys and the legendariness of the other guys just shines through and overwhelms.
Okay, very well said. What about you, Pram? What do you think?
I kind of agree with both of you guys. I think like it's just a bunch of factors that may put him in the bottom 4. Like the lack of it playing throughout the season, that kind of hurts. I mean, that can be caught up with testing, but sometimes you need to see things in tournaments to actually kind of get a feel for it. Otherwise, you end up just theory crafting, and that doesn't work out well, right, Crim?
Yeah.
And so there's that, and then like everyone else is just so good. So he has like, I know he's on like well at Worlds before, but that was in seniors. So you know, it's a completely different beast, and he won Worlds. It's great. I hope he can do better, or not better, but I hope he can do just as well.
You won Worlds. You need to do better.
That's not what I meant. But I hope he can continue doing well throughout this Worlds and the Top Cut and the rest of the tournaments he plays in. So.
Yeah, he does have a lot of pressure on him. He absolutely took a year off, and we'll have to see if that hurt him. I'm interested to see how he does. I'm going to reserve any judgment until his performance at Worlds and whatever that that is. And yeah, I'm actually very interested to see how David performs. And I'm not as pessimistic as you guys. I think he's got a reasonable chance to make it deep. Finally, the final member of the Elite 8, Tom Dolezal, the tank engine, the tank, Tommy D, Tommy Gunn, whatever you want to call him, man. Tom Dolezal is maybe not the most decorated player of all time, but he's up there. This man, while he's never actually won a major championship, has probably top cutted more times than probably any two players you can name combined. This guy is the real deal when it comes to this stuff. He always makes it. He's gonna make it to the top 8 at the Top Cut Invitational. I can guarantee you that. He has officially made the top cut at the Invitational. So he can add that to his resume. But the man has top cutted more nationals than I can count in one hand. I think. Worlds as well. The guy's got a huge resume. And what do you guys think about his chances? This is Tom's first Invitational. He actually made it in over several other big names who deserved it, just as much as everybody else. Just to name a few: Jay Hornung, Ross Cawthon. Geez, I know I'm forgetting a few others who honestly do deserve this type of invitation. But this man got the invitation over these guys, as well as a couple other players who got invited. How do you guys feel he's going to do? And we'll save Drew for last, so we'll go with Pram first.
He's the tank, man. He's like the real deal. He's like, man, he's so good. Not enough. I can't praise him enough on how good he is. So I think he's definitely in my top 4. I hope he doesn't get nervous though. That's one thing though he sometimes does is if he gets nervous, his play drops. So it just I think it's just kind of depend on what kind of Tom shows up, the cool collected machine we all know and love, or one who's slightly worse than that due to the nerves. So we'll see. But he's definitely in my top 4.
All right. Well, he's not in Ben Potter's top 4. And why is that, Ben?
Tom goes to these big tournaments, and he just dominates every single time. This is not a big tournament. This is a small tournament. And I think Tom is more suited for somebody who gets through the field, makes it through the field of battle and comes out with a few remaining. We're already at the few remaining, and he does well. He hasn't won a championship, but if there's one championship I want to see him win, I want to see him win this one. I'd love to see him do well in this tournament. I just don't think it's going to happen.
All right. Bold words. I wouldn't say that to Tom's face, but I understand. You know what? Nobody knows Tom better than Drew. Drew and Tom have been playtesting for a very long time, and I'm sure that's got a few words to say about this.
Woo!
That's
Tom
one.
Always surprises me. Always. Every year he comes in, we start playtesting. Right before Nationals, I'm like, all right, there's no way this year he's going to do well. And he always does way better than me. He always top 8s. I can't understand what goes on, but he's the machine. As far as the tournament, I think maybe the setup of the tournament kind of is a disadvantage for Tom, because I think if he makes top 4, the deck he's probably going to play, probably that Darkrai speed thing again, is probably at a disadvantage in a 90-minute best 2 out of 3 situation. Somebody in this tournament is probably going to play Vileplume of some sort. Probably Jason. I would put money on Jason playing some sort of Vileplume. But I just don't see that deck beating Vileplume 2 out of 3 ever. I'm not a huge fan of that deck. I hate it. I'm assuming he plays it again, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I think he can make the top 4, but after that, who knows?
All right. So who do you actually have winning the tournament? We know that Yamato is Potter's pick. Who's yours?
I gotta think about this one. I'm gonna go with. Okay. I thought about it. Sammy. I'm going with Sammy.
All right. You have Sammy Sekum coming out of the Invitational as champion. What about you, Pram?
I had Sammy too, actually.
All right. So you both have Sammy Sekum. Potter has Yamato. My heart has Yamato.
My heart has Tom, but my head's saying Sammy.
I think I'm going to go with, man. Alright, I'll say it. I'm going to go with Asa. I'm going to go with Asa to come out of this tournament. I honestly think that the guy's going to prepare better than anybody else. I honestly think that the guy has the most to prove, or at least he feels like he's got the most to prove, and he's just got I feel like the guy's got heart. I really do. I'm sure that a lot of these other guys do too, but I feel like Ace is going to come up with something very good for 90-minute best 2 out of 3, and I got my money on him. I'm actually really interested to see what you guys all have to say about this. So if you guys would do me the favor and tweet at me at Crims23 like my like the Top Cut page that you guys are seeing, the picture of me. Says if you guys can just tweet at me at Crims23. I honestly do want to know, or at Top Cut Pokemon, both work, because I really am interested to see what the general public actually has to say about this. So that's the Top Cut Invitational. These are all 8 players. We've gone over them for the last like half hour, but you know what? The truth is that they deserve it. They deserve this recognition, and I can't say it enough. I'm excited to see what happens, and it's going to happen in about a week and a half. So that's going to be great. So then we have the World Championships. We've already beat the bush with these guys. 8 players. You guys are all going to be at Worlds. You guys are all going to be playing. Who else is going to be at the World Championships that we have not mentioned that you guys feel is going to make a big splash in the competition? I'll give you guys a quick second to think about it while I mention one name, and that's Kyle Sigovich. Kyle is not here today. He is a person who's done notoriously bad at Worlds, and he's got fame for this. He's honestly got fame for, I believe he's only Top Cut Worlds once in his life. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, but
you are correct.
Yes, we lost.
I think he lost in the first round. To you? Was it in the first round of the cut?
Second round.
Second round? All right. So he made it to the second round, and then he got the big boot by then not so washed up Drew Holden. And and this guy's honestly done poorly at Worlds, and you know it's hard to argue that he's not one of the best all-time players to ever play the game. So bad at Nationals this year. I'm sure he learned his lesson. I'm sure he's preparing. He's going up to Kona right now to play test for a week. He's going to make sure he's ready for World Championships. It's hard not to think that he's going to have a breakout year at the World Championship scene. So that's a guy who I'm actually very interested in, and I'm hoping that he does well for the sake for the sake of his legacy, because I do feel like that's the only thing that's really missing from his resume. So, who else do you guys feel is, a guy to watch out for, a guy that people should follow on Twitter, a guy that people should just keep an eye out for when it comes to the World Championships? We'll start with Pram.
Probably, I got like 2 popping up in my head right away. We kind of mentioned them, but not really. Would be like Jay and Ross.
Okay.
Ross came in with, I believe he played Excelgor at Nationals, and that was like a really good pick. So I think he's like I think he's really in tune with the format. And Jay just kind of like steamrolls everyone. He's kind of like a more consistent version of Tom. I don't know.
I want to say a new age version of Tom. Tom's been doing this for a while.
Sure.
I know Jay's been doing this for a while.
How about a more tournament attendee ness. He tends more tournaments.
He's another
than
Tom Dilsel.
But he's like
it's hard to disagree with the fact that he's.
But you know what I mean.
Dilsel,
He's like Tom a little bit. So definitely those 2 are like 2 players to look out for sure.
Okay. What about you, Drew or Ben? Whoever's actually ready.
Woo! I'm coming for you, Ben. That's what I thought. Sit over there in that corner. I like Jay as well. He's one of these years. I think he's just gonna get over the hump and win. I think he's made top 4 once.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He did.
Maybe just the once. I think he's gotten pretty far a couple times. And then I actually like John Roberts. I think people are gonna underestimate his deck again, and he's gonna go far and surprise everyone. I think Clink Clang's one of those decks like everyone's, oh, this is so easy to counter, and then no one actually puts the cards into their deck to counter it, and they're surprised when it wins. So I think it could go really far again, and I would not be surprised to see John Roberts in top 8, top 4, whatever, world champ. Woo!
That'd be interesting. That'd be something else. All right, so you have John Roberts coming out. You have Jay Horner coming out. Any other names that we haven't mentioned that you might want to, maybe have people watch out for? I haven't really looked at the top 40 standings. I'm
I'm unprepared.
All right, I'm prepared.
Yeah. Unprepared.
Are you prepared?
I'm prepared. I'm always prepared. I think I got 3 players on my list that are very important to watch out for. First is Jason Harry. I think he was like #1 at the end of the year in ratings last year, and this year he was up there again. I think he was like top 15. He's super strong, solid player. I think he's going to do really well. Another player is Dylan Bryan. I think he's been up there the last 2 years. I think he got like 3rd this year at overall rating, and then he even did really well at nationals. I think in top 16 or top 8. I'm not really sure. Top 16.
16.
Yeah. And he's a strong player, knows what he's doing, and he's going to go real deep at Worlds. And the third and most important is Great White Hope, Benjamin Potter. Going to grind in. I'm coming for everybody. Everybody. Nobody is safe. Going down.
All right, so the always humble Benjamin Potter is basically calling the gauntlet on himself. There's a lot of names that we haven't mentioned, and a lot of names that honestly deserve a ton of recognition, and I'm sure that that they will, absolutely earn that recognition, and they've earned it already, and they're people to watch out for. People like who immediately come to mind. I mentioned the Northwest team. The Midwest actually has a lot of really good players. I know that there's a lot of players from the St. Louis area and whatnot. I believe Britt Pibis is from around that area. Very good player. The Ohio players actually, unfortunately, they were a powerhouse, and for one reason or another, the Ohio players have been kind of just taking a little time off of the game. Is there any news on them coming back anytime soon, Drew?
Well, we obviously have Tom. He's our hope. And Fulop's gone. He quit. He's not coming back that I see. I can't really play that much. We have Carl Shue. Carl Shue qualified from Nationals, so he can do it. He can do it. But that's about it for we have fallen off the cliff. We just drove straight off that cliff. We're not stopping until we hit the ground.
Yeah, not too long ago, Ohio was honestly known as the best state in the world, or in the United States, in terms of Pokemon skill. And this, I'm talking about like within the last like 3-4 years. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. But you know what? You're right. You do have Crow, who did qualify through nationals. He took top 8, I believe. And you're right. He is going to be one of the representatives, as well as Tom Dozel. And if you get an LCQ in, then you as well. Florida is another state that lost the Silvestros. The Silvestros decided to not play this year. But they have a lot of representatives coming out of there. I know Jason Klasinski moved down to Florida, and ever since then, I've gotten to know a few more of the Florida players, and it'll be interesting to see if they have anything to say. The SoCal team is a team that I really want to mention. They've got a lot of players coming out of there this year. Right off the top of my head, Chris Silver, who's from NorCal, but the truth is he plays with the SoCal players. He plays with myself. He, in my heart, is one of the SoCal players. Mark Garcia, Chris Wynn. Jeez, who am I missing? I know I'm missing some players. This is terrible. But there are so many players who honestly deserve a break. They deserve to be able to make it out of the national scene. California is a really difficult state. In my opinion, it's become one of the better states, if not the best state in terms of skill level, because there's so many players there. There's so many players who honestly can do so well at any given tournament. I believe 8 of them grinded in last year at the grinder, and obviously it wasn't SoCal, but 8 of them grinded in. That's a huge number. It'll be interesting to see if any of them go up to travel and grind in as well. You have these players who I just mentioned who can actually do extremely well, if not win the actual World Championships. I'm very interested to see how they do. And people from outside of the United States are, there's always powerhouses coming out of there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any actual names that are popping up in my head, but that's just because I'm on the spot. But it'll be very interesting to see how everybody does, and I'm excited for this World Championships. And again, if you guys feel like we missed anybody, go ahead and ask us on our Facebook page. We're going to be getting to the viewer questions now. And we'll go ahead and answer them as soon as we come back from break. Any questions you guys may have regarding World Championships, Top Cut Invitational, or anything really relevant currently in the game, we'll go ahead and answer them. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, and stay tuned.